Hey, what's up, my friends? JT DeBolt is with you today for the Elite Marketing Pro Daily Dose of Awesome, your 15 minutes of inspiration, education, and motivation to help you get your day started off right. And as you're jumping out here, let me know who you are and where you are tuning in from. And as you do, let me just say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time it is for you, no matter where you might be tuning in from on the Big Blue Marble. Thanks for joining us here each and every single Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Always a great privilege and an honor to be with you guys here. And as you're jumping out, say hello. What's up, Sally? Sally Tamar Prag joining us from the UK. Luke Burrows, what's up, my friend? Krista Baker's online. Great to see you guys jumping out here. As you're jumping out, give me a shout out. Let me know how you guys are doing. What's up with your day? It's Friday here, at least in the United States. It's 10 a.m. on the West Coast here in beautiful Washington State, just a few miles north of Seattle, Washington. Great to see you as well, Sally. Anna Lee Plessis is coming in from Louisiana. Awesome. Bonnie, what's going on? Christina, hey, what's going on, Christina? Good to see you as always. So I've got an important question for you. You are out there leading your people. You've got prospects coming into your business. You've got clients, customers looking to join your teams. The question is it better to give a person a fish or teach them how to fish? That's the number one question. Go ahead and dial your comments in the chat box here. Hey, what's up, Michelle Ola from Miami? Good to see you. Holly coming in from Pennsylvania. Steve is said it's snowing in Alabama. What's up with that, Steve? I haven't been down in Alabama. Went down there for flight training way back in the day, but it was in the summertime. It was hot. So for sure, interesting to hear that you're getting snow. All right. So Lisa Wright Tiegler says, teach them to fish. And, of course, Bonnie says, teach to fish, feed for life. And absolutely, that is true. Now, I asked this question because there's kind of a buried meaning behind that statement. Of course, the idea is if you give a person a fish, you will feed them for a day. If you teach that person how to fish, you will feed them for life. Or more importantly, and I think more specifically, they feed themselves. So if anybody here is a fan of email marketing, if you think that email marketing is a great strategy, go ahead and give me a 1 in the chat box. If you are into email marketing, give me a 1 in the chat box. I personally think email marketing is awesome. One of the reasons why I think email marketing is a very effective tool for building your business is that it is a free advertising medium. As long as you're building your list, as long as you've got people constantly coming in, you've got fresh prospects, fresh leads coming into your list, emailing them on a daily basis is an excellent way to build, grow, and engage your network. And of course, you can also promote your business to them. And I see a lot of people dialing 1 in. That's awesome. Now, one person that I've learned from, one of my favorite kind of email marketing experts, if you will, is Ben Settle. If you've ever heard of Ben Settle, you know that he can be a bit irreverent at times. That's putting it very lightly. But one thing's for sure is the man knows how to email market, and he knows really great strategies. He teaches amazing stuff, both on his blog posts and his podcasts, but also if you subscribe to his newsletter. And I'm not here to promote Ben. I'm just here to simply say that he's one of the people that I've learned from when it comes to email marketing prowess. Now, what's interesting is I remember one time in one of his newsletters, and he's even said it a couple times in his free emails, is that the worst thing in the world you can do is to feed a stray cat. So if you've got a stray cat that somehow comes through your backyard or your front yard and you put a bowl of milk out for it, what's going to happen? Well, that stray cat is going to keep coming back again and again and again to get the milk. Well, the same is true for prospects. And we were talking about this last week in Orlando at one of the Fast Track workshops. We were talking about, the idea of giving a bunch of stuff away for free, which you always do. You want to give a lot of value away for free. I get that. But the question was, how much is too much? And then we got into a deeper conversation about the concept of if we give too much away or if we give discounts, the idea is suddenly people will keep coming back around. And I gave a very real world example of how I had a person that was seemed to really have the motivation and the drive to grow themselves. They really wanted to do better for themselves. And I had offered, as I often do, some of my programs that help people set, define, and achieve the goals and targets they have for their business. And so I had done this promotion for this product, and I'd put it out there, done the webinar. It did very well, sold quite a few units. But this one person came up, and she was talking to me, via chat, talking how she was a little bit down on her luck financially and just needed a break, just needed somebody to believe in her. Is there a way that she could get a price break? Now, Total confession, this was a few years ago. The total confession is I actually gave her a price break. And I'm glad I made this mistake. I'm glad I did this because now I have the foundation from which to teach you this lesson. The lesson there was, do not do this. Number one, it's not fair to everybody else who paid full price. Regardless of how a person might be down on their luck, regardless of what kind of story they feed you, it's not fair to everybody else if you give one person a price break. But in this case, I did. The second part to it was she gave me the whole story about how, if you just give me this one chance, then I will prove it to you in spades. I'll be one of your proud students that is going to be a huge success story. The challenge is that it did the exact reverse. It did the exact opposite. What it essentially did was enable her as opposed to empower her. So instead of teaching her how to fish, I basically gave her the fish at a discounted rate, of course. And my point to that is this. A lot of times people need certainty. There's a difference between certainty and clarity, and I'm going to go into that in just a moment. Think about this. If I told you for certain that you could make $1 million, would you take it? If I told you for certain you could make $1 million, would you take it? If the answer is 2, or if the answer is yes, give me a 2 in the chat box. There's a very specific point to this question that I'm going to get to in a moment. But if you're one of those people that says, yeah, man, that'd be awesome, JT, just give me $1 million and give me the answer 2. If, on the other hand, if I said to you, listen, I'm not going to give you $1 million, but I'll teach you how to make $1 million. I could either give it to you or I can teach you how to do it. There is no guarantee it's going to work. If you'd rather have that deal, then give me a 3 in the chat box. A 2 says I'd rather just take the $1 million. 3 says I'll take my chances with great teaching, great knowledge on how it might work. All right, so I see a lot of people too, but I see Larry saying, hey, that's even better. And I'm assuming, Larry, that you're responding to that other option. Here's the purpose that I'm trying to get to, and this is really what the whole kind of theme of this message today is this. You're going to have a lot of people that come to you, and they're going to want certainty. They want to know for certain that it's going to work out. Certainty shows up as guarantees. Certainty shows up as promises. Certainty shows up in ways that says, I have to know that I'm going to get my money back. And a lot of times we come into things, especially when it comes to business, because there is a transaction involved, or we give money for service, we give money for products, we give money for certain things. All of a sudden, in the backs of our minds, we're hoping that we have certainty that we're going to get our money back and then some. Does this sound familiar to you? I know I've certainly been down the path of desiring certainty. There was a long time in business where, especially when I was very new, a kind of an amateur entrepreneur, I wanted certainty. I wanted to know for certain that I was going to get my money back. I wanted to know for certain that this thing was going to work. And if you remember a few days ago when I came out here, I was talking about the concept of how much money do you make? And there's a question, or there's kind of an energy behind that question when somebody asks you, how much money have you made? Or how long have you been in this business? What kind of results have you gotten? Typically speaking, they're coming from a place of certainty, or more specifically, coming from a place of wanting certainty. Now, the key to this is we as entrepreneurs and as leaders have to get to a place of clarity. Certainty versus clarity here. This is the big challenge. The certainty versus clarity dichotomy is exactly the same as the either give a person a fish or teaching them how to fish. So if you're a person that needs certainty, understand this. It is a massive blind spot. Because when we come from a place of certainty, we're coming from a place of telling. In other words, think of anything you're certain about. It could be anything. It could be like, hey, I'm totally certain that the ceiling is not going to cave in on me. I'm totally certain that right now the world is not going to just explode in a big ball of fire. Okay, that's fine. We could be certain about certain things. And the key to that is, okay, there's a level that we want to have a level of comfort. We don't want to always be judging. We don't always want to be second guessing. But here's the real dangerous slippery slope about certainty, especially when it comes to something like business, especially when it comes to something where we have to take a certain amount of risk, which I think we can all agree that's what business is kind of predicated on, right? The ability to take risk. If we come from a place of needing certainty, then suddenly we're setting ourselves up to be judgmental. We're saying to ourselves, I'm certain that this is not going to work, or I'm certain that this is going to work. And then when the outcome is the exact opposite or different from what we're certain about, we're disappointed. Sometimes we're angry. Sometimes we're heartbroken. Sometimes we're flat out pissed off. That's the problem with certainty. On the other side, if we're clear on how we might achieve that, then we become much more nimble. Instead of falling asleep at the wheel for certainty, saying, oh, this is the way it is, this is the way it's always been, and this is the way it's always going to be, when we have clarity on how something works, or when we have clarity on how we might achieve it, all of a sudden now we have power. And that power comes in the case of creativity. It comes in the place of being able to kind of think on our feet, think outside the box, and to be able to adjust to the situation no matter what the situation may throw at us. Now think about it this way. In business, if you are, let's say that you're running an ad campaign right now, can you control absolutely everything? Probably not. Let's say that you know a ton about Facebook advertising. You've got Facebook advertising dialed in. You are the Facebook marketing maven. You know everything there is to know. And if you aren't that person, think of somebody that you might know that is. I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of really amazing mentors that come out here in the EMP community that teach Facebook advertising. Perhaps you've learned from them. Perhaps you've profited from what they teach you. The question is, are they certain that it's going to work? Chances are they have a level of certainty. They have a degree of certainty, but what got them to that degree of certainty was a level of clarity. They understand that there's only so much within their sphere of control, so to speak. For instance, Facebook itself could just vaporize. Could happen, just like MySpace did back in the day, just like Google pay-per-click did back in the day. And for a while, that stuff worked. And for a while, everybody thought this is the way it's going to be. This is the wave of the future. But when we have that level of certainty that this is always going to work, what happens? We've set ourselves up for failure. Now, the key to this is to get clear on how we're going to have the big picture taken care of in our business. So the reason I come out here and I say this all the time is you want to be clear on your values, your vision, your mission, and your purpose, is because if you know those four things and you're clear on those four things, then you can adjust to anything. It doesn't matter what marketing platform you use. It doesn't matter how many people you've served in your business. It doesn't matter if you are crushing it right now and you're a 6, 7, 8-figure earner. If you come from a place of clarity as opposed to a place of certainty, you're coming at it from a place of creativity and a place of adaptability. You literally become plastic, which means you can kind of mold to the situation. Or, as the great Bruce Lee used to say, be water, my friend, be water. And what he meant by that was the water doesn't try to go through the rock. It doesn't try to go under the rock. It goes around the rock. It doesn't worry if there's a rock in its way. It just sort of goes around it. It becomes the path. It becomes the way as opposed to the barrier, which the rock is, holding itself back. So if this is making sense for you, give me a 5 in the chat box. Give me a high five if you realize that clarity is far more powerful than certainty. Give me a 5 in the chat box if you realize that the need for certainty could be holding you or anybody you know back from getting their full potential. Give me a 5 in the chat box if this is resonating with you, and we'll see what's going on. Wow, a lot of comments coming in. Leora Zen says, I'd still take the million. I totally get it. Hey, if the question is, would you rather take $1 million or the clarity on how to earn the $1 million? Which one would you rather have? I take both. I get it, because then you could just pump the $1 million into what you learn on how to get there. Hannah, what's going on? She said there is no certainty. It's up to us to work hard and generate results. Totally, exactly right. And in fact, that's my point. Hannah makes a great point. Hannah Gorvin says that. And the whole idea is that if you have clarity on how to do something, then you will reinforce, you'll get a degree of certainty. That's the beautiful part. You can have the best of both worlds. All right. If you have some certainty on how you're going to operate and you have a certainty on how you might adjust when the thing that you do isn't working, guess what? You will get that result. And then you can say, with a degree of certainty, this is what works. This is how this thing happens. All right, cool, man. So let's see. Sally says, everything is possible, but nothing is certain. Spot on. Beautifully said. I totally get it. Let's see. A lot of people dialing 5 in here. That's really great. Monica Lennon says personal power. And I want to speak to that, Monica, because you're absolutely correct. I agree with you 100% on that. That's exactly what we're talking about here. If we come from a place of certainty, we've kind of closed our mind off to other possibilities. We've disempowered ourselves by saying this is the only way. I'm so certain that this is the only way that we absolutely close ourselves off to any other possibility. If, on the other hand, we have clarity, we say, I'm fairly clear on what I'm going to do. In other words, I'm clear on how to catch fish. I'm not certain that I'm going to, but I'm clear on how to tie the knot on the lure, how to cast the rod, where to fish, what time of day to fish. These, of course, are all metaphors. The same thing could be tied to our business. I'm fairly clear on what strategy I'm going to use. I'm fairly clear on what tactic is going to support that strategy. I'm fairly clear on where I'm going to put my ads. I'm fairly clear on the type of person that I'm going to be seeking out. Then we don't have to worry about certainty. We just operate, we learn, and then we adjust. And that's where we get our personal power, because we will not be limited by the circumstance. We won't be limited by what the market's doing. We won't be limited by what's going on in the news. We won't be limited by all these other things that are out of our control. Instead, we focus on what we can control, and that is the ultimate definition of personal power. We become self-directed. We become sovereign people. And that's the real power behind being an entrepreneur, is being able to call your own shots and not necessarily have everything work out for you. It doesn't mean you're going to have the Midas touch and everything that you put your hands on is going to just naturally turn to gold. But what it does mean is that you have the power, that personal power, to be able to adjust to any situation because you have clarity and because you're not married to and using the crutch of certainty. So think about that today. Think about this even as you head into the weekend and you contemplate your business. As you're looking back at the week that has been, ask yourself, what worked really well this week? What didn't work so well? And what might I do differently? When you ask those three questions, you're coming from a place of clarity because you've simplified it down to those simple three questions. You just take a look back and you say, okay, cool. I was under a certain degree of certainty that this might work. It didn't. That's okay. No reason to panic. What might I do differently moving forward? And then as you look forward to the week that's about to be, as you head into this weekend, do the things you love to do, spend time doing them with the people you love doing them and being around, then all of a sudden you can ask yourself, what can I do next week? What might I do next week to make this next week better than this week? When you do that, now you have a degree of clarity. You take a look at all the things that are coming up for you, all the awesome opportunities, maybe a few of the things that maybe you got family coming into town, possible roadblocks to your productivity and your effectiveness. But as long as you have that clarity, then you know what you can do to adjust to those things. This is what I'm talking about, my friends. It's a very exciting thing because, again, just like we were talking about, just like Monica was saying, it's all about stepping into your personal power and not being affected or not being pushed around, rather, by the circumstances, by the environment, by the things that are going on in your life. All right. Well, listen, that just about does it for today's daily dose of awesome. If this message landed for you, if there was something about this that made you think deeper, if there was something about this that maybe even kind of agitated you a little bit, made you think, I got to double think this one, then I want you to give me a shout out here, give me a 7 in the chat box, and go ahead and share this message with people in your network. Anybody and everybody, get this message out there. In fact, I want to build this community even bigger and stronger. I'm so proud of this community. This community is amazing. Lots of folks out there helping each other, lots of people jumping in, lots of people sharing their wisdom, and we want more of that. So make sure you're sharing this with your folks. Bring them in here. And if you're brand new to our community, give us a like, give us a follow here on facebook.com/Elite Marketing Pro. And make sure you get yourself over to EliteMarketingPro.com where you can access our free 10-day boot camp where you can learn to build and scale your business online. And by the way, that 10-day boot camp will absolutely give you more clarity on how to do just that. With that said, my friends, this session is a wrap. Grateful as always to be with you here on the Daily Dose of Awesome. Looking forward to doing it again soon. And remember, no matter what course you fly in life, fly high, fly fast, and fly far. We'll talk to you soon.